Hello, Jose, Pando. Look, we're recording this, and I promised to give this to you. And we're really talking about a very important topic, which is the vagus nerve. And who should even care about the vagus nerve? But the truth is this, Jose, you and I look after people with inflammation all day long. That's what we measure. That's what we ask for. That's what we look at in our joints. And then we think, let's give a chemical. And you were the first one, Jose, to alert me to this breathing technique. I'll be honest, I know we've done the integrative fellowship, University of Arizona. I'd heard about it, but until you made those physicians go through that technique in Florida at the Society of Rheumatology. Honestly, Victoria Mazes is next to me. I'm there. We're both doing it. And honestly, I got clarity unlike anything. I think I'd spoken my short talk by then, and you came later. And I'm very excitable. And your talk somehow that technique I just followed through. Okay, I hadn't done it quite like the way you led it. So I just want to acknowledge that. And folks, if you're watching this video, I just want to say hooray for Jose Pando. He's an NIH, a National Institute of Health, just extraordinary scientist who brings the best of clinical and scientific care to the bedside. Jose, you do it all. You really do.
Thank you, Nisha.
So thank you for spending this time with me after clinic at dinner time. And you said, no, I'll honor your request. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Let me tell you how I got involved with this and how I became a rheumatologist in two lines, because everything ties up together.
Yes.
I came to this country approximately, I don't know, 40 years ago almost. And as I came, I got involved in research in neuropsychoimmunology. At that time, it was a nascent field. People didn't know much about the relationship between the brain and the immune system. And from then it evolved, right? But it was regarding my training and the different things I did, there was always in the back of my mind how the brain can affect the immune system,
Yes.
right? And as we begin to learn more and begin to incorporate additional knowledge, it became clear that it affects the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis, affects the immune system as well.
Right.
And therefore, what better way to decrease the stimulation of the HPA axis than using the natural feedback mechanism that we were given, which is the stimulation of the vagal nerve, right? So when I started practice, with Catherine, we tried to teach patients different ways to stimulate the vagal nerve, since it directly goes back to the back of your brain and will cause a mechanism in which it just decreases the sympathetic stimulation and balance the autonomic nervous system,
Right.
by creating a balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves, right?
Right. Right. You bring to mind this whole idea, and we're all in a fight or flight right now. Honestly, we are.
Yeah.
And there's great upheaval in medicine in around the world. It's just there. It is. You can't put your head in a sandbox. You just say, okay, this is what it is. What do I do to help just not only myself, but my patients? And what you're saying here is that the body, first of all, has an innate intelligence. The brain and the heart talk to each other. It's essential mechanism. And this is ongoing. It's like an eavesdropping mechanism on the whole system. And we're all in an inflammatory state. I know this, and in fact, just before I came on, I drank some milk because I feel the inflammatory. For me, milk is helpful. And then I take minerals, calcium and magnesium to just relax. And so what you're saying here is that the body has the intelligence to balance the great nervous system, the sympathetic, parasympathetic, and it's under our control.
That's
We are
correct.
in control of the master switch. And you mentioned that I said the breathing, and you said you and Catherine do this. Walk us through this, what it is you recognize and how you hack this nerve.
So let's first talk about what it is. Some of the people that are listening to this don't know what the name of vagus nerve come from or what it means, right?
Yes,
The
yes,
vagus nerve is the wandering nerve,
yes.
and it's one because it wanders, one of the cranial nerves, the only one that leaves the brain or the head, and it goes through the neck and goes down into your chest and then to your abdomen, and it goes to half of the colon. So we'll incorporate the nerves in the larynx, in the lungs, in the heart, as you mentioned, and in the gastrointestinal tract. So
Mm-hmm.
it will have, because of the autonomic nervous system, it will have an effect in your breathing, in your heart rate, in the way that your bowels behave.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ways in which you can affect the vagal nerve, right?
Right. This is the ways,
So
the portals to gain entry into it. Right, right,
yeah.
right. Okay.
So and the vagal nerve also goes through the throat and to the larynx, and it has a little nerves that go back to the middle of the ears,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, people that try to affect the vagal nerve use acupuncture in the ears,
Right. They
right?
massage the ear.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And you put needles there and you stimulate, and sometimes they leave the needles and you have to rub them. I don't know if you have seen that,
I have seen that
or
actually.
push them
Yes.
just to stimulate, to keep on the vagal nerve in check. But
Mm-hmm.
if you know that it goes to the throat, how about if you hum and just
Mm.
humming will be a way to stimulate the vagal nerve.
Oh, this is
So
awesome.
basically, what happens and what Catherine does, she's very busy in clinic, and she has an assistant. There's a wonderful gentleman, and whenever they're pulling their heads with patients, they both begin to hum together, just to
Yes.
keep it in check. And you're stressed, but that will just bring you down. So if you feel that you're a little bit charged, just hum your way through the day, and that will stimulate the
Wow.
vagal nerve,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Going a little bit deeper, if you take a deep, deep breath, the stimulation of the expansion of the chest and the diaphragm will also stimulate the vagal nerve,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have the humming, you have the deep breathing, and you have a movement, like even dancing, but the movement that most people think about is yoga, in which you're moving different muscles in the costal cage, in the abdomen, and whatnot. And that will stimulate the vagal nerve too.
Yes. Yes.
If
You
you
remind me of the time that an acupuncturist left a little um, pellet almost, and really it just popped it in there and told me to massage it. And this is what would happen, Jose. I would yawn. Just I would miss, and I would. Oh my God. And then it fell out naturally. She said, it'll fall out naturally. Don't worry about that within a few weeks, but you'll get the pattern of to relax yourself deeply. And I would yawn a lot. Yes. And it makes you relax totally. And you feel clarity too. You're hyper aware, but not overexcited like a caffeine drive. Rather, you're alert and calm. Yeah. Very nice. But I like the humming.
the humming is good. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
at the wellness center, Catherine invites regularly a lady to do um, music, and she does um, mindfulness through music, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a way to stimulate the vagal nerve as well. I
Yes.
don't exactly know the mechanism. It's easy when you just touch the nerve or breathe or whatnot, but this lady does a um, sound and sound healing that stimulates the vagal nerve too. So there are different ways
Yes.
in which you can stimulate it
Mm-hmm.
in a
Mm-hmm.
natural way, in a way that is easy or relatively easy to do.
Yes.
Eventually, you want, we can do the breathing technique. But it's something
Yes.
I brought for you, knowing that you were going to ask me about the vagal nerve.
Oh, we're going to do the 478 because I think people are um we're so interested in wellness and longevity and how to live properly, and we're very, very enamored with vitamins and diet and all that. But I think this, I'll tell you this, Jose, in my own practice, I don't think people breathe very well. When I'm listening to them, I have to say, are you breathing at all? Because I can barely hear you. So they're breathing very shallow. And,
Mhm.
and you really need to encourage them. So they've forgotten there's really rapid, shallow, and once they start to breathe, they slow down immediately. And at the bedside, surely, when I was physically doing practice, I did teach them the breathing that you're going to take us through. And I'll tell you this, I would tell them, take your pulse, 15 seconds, put your finger. I would show them how to take the radial pulse, and then I'd say, okay, now close your eyes and I'll talk you to the 4, 7, and 8 breathing. And Jose, it's like a biofeedback.
That's right.
They noticed that their pulse would go down and they looked different. I would say, look at the mirror now, and they had clarity and they calmed down. And it's a wonderful way to give them on the spot. Here, you're regulating yourself now. And here's the thing: once people did that all the time, less phone calls to the nurse, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas when everybody's rheumatoid flares.
Mm.
This was, in fact, the nurse commented on me. She said, Dr. Manek, you're one of the few in this group I don't get phone calls for. I said, it's because they know how to regulate themselves.
Mhm.
They know how to calm down and breathe and pace themselves. And so it does have a meaningful effect in doctors' calls and even their prescriptions. They go
Yeah.
over the top into parasympathetic outflow and immune and tone down the inflammation that we see. I mean, it's absolutely scientific. So anyway, go ahead. So it's biofeedback, really.
It is. And there's different ways to do it. I mean, the
Hmm.
478 breath is one of them. Other ways in which you can balance the autonomic nervous system is with altered nose breathing, in
Oh,
which you
mhm.
inhale by one nostril, cover your nostrils, open the
Yes.
other one, and exhale.
Okay.
And if you're very charged, if you need to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, you mainly focus on the left nostril.
Yes.
So you take a deep breath with the left nostril, you wait a few seconds, exhale to the right, and then you inhale
Ah,
again to the left.
yes.
That will
Yes.
stimulate, I mean, if you want a balance, you do it with both, alternate. But if you want to mainly just cool down fast, you mainly breathe by the left.
Yes.
And that will stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system.
This is wonderful. That's a very important clue.
When
Wow. Mhm.
for your patients, if they practice and they tell you I'm ready for the next level,
Mhm.
then you show them the Kapalabhati breathing, the product you have,
Yes. The
which is just
bellows
the
breathing. Yeah.
basic rapid contraction of the abdominal wall, and of course that contraction will stimulate the vagal nerve,
Hmm.
but it also will stir the pot a little bit. So
Yes.
things that are bugging you will come. So you have to warn people about that,
Yes. Kapalabhati is like a bellows breath. I think you
like a
force
bellows.
exhalation and then you literally get rid of crap, I
Yes,
think.
right.
That's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
I
it
have
just
some.
helps you to release stuff. And
Excuse me. There you are, Kapalabhati here.
and as you pointed out a minute ago, we all have stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, we're all charged for different reasons. It is a difficult time around the world, and we
Mhm.
all, need to release some.
Yeah, I think this is intelligence that works, first of all, without chemicals, without prescriptions, without antidepressants, and that's the fascinating thing. You don't need the doctor to tell you, just go do it. And once you do it and do it and do it, it actually comes up automatically. That's what the nurses were saying. You don't get phone calls. So once they take it seriously, boom. You mentioned music, and there is some research on parasympathetic and heart entrainment where they're really entrained, and zero point 0.1 hertz. And this Benedictine nun actually studied different kinds of music, like hard rock, metal, which is terrible. Don't listen to that. Then she went into classical, Mozart, and it really does engage. But the best one, and I went, whoa, this makes so much sense because I used to listen to this in my medical school library because I couldn't understand Latin. And in Scotland, they do Latin, and I can't memorize. It's not my natural tongue. But she said Gregorian chanting, monastic vocal chanting. She says they immediately go into entrainment. Your brain is synced. And I could remember things, and I didn't know why I was listening to this in my headphone. But Gregorian chanting. And I would say to people, if their kids or grandchildren are listening to hard rock and all that, be careful. Be careful. They're turning up the sympathetic drive, and it will be detrimental for their health overall. They get addicted to it too.
In the early 90s, Nisha, you probably were in this country already. There
No,
was
I
a
wasn't.
there was a
Uh-huh.
bestseller, how the ratings for music,
Uh-huh.
and one of the top sellers was Gregorian chanting.
Really?
And with Catherine, we used to hear it all the time in the house. We still have the CDs. It's funny because our son was part of a choral, and the choral used to do Gregorian chanting too. So it's very relaxing. It's lovely.
Yes. And it's a good way for learning. You don't need to make effort. Somehow, the essential bits of information stick. You seem to file away the details. So when I came to my medical school exams, honestly, I was like, I don't know, I was
Uh,
okay, and it was fine. It was fine, and I seem to know what to do. And it's that innate knowledge that the music opened the parasympathetic gates and kept them open because I would sleep very well. I never needed alarm clocks ever. I've never actually used timers or anything. I just know. And I think it's partly because of that. So, classical and Gregorian chanting should be in our schools, to be honest,
yeah.
because the children relax. ADHD seems to be rampant. We hear that all the time. And I think, yeah, you can teach them Tai Chi, but put those headphones on. Now, for some of my practice patients, I actually tell them to go to solfeggio tones. Solfeggio is 9 tones, original, free on YouTube. And when you put them on, literally within seconds, your scalp relaxes and you can't think. I can't think. The
You
brain is
relax so
quiet.
much.
Yeah, the brain becomes quiet. And that's very fascinating. So for me, if I need to write or learn something, I can't do solfeggio. But for some of my patients who can't do breathing, they have CPAP machines or whatever it is, then they get headphones and listen to the solfeggio, and it works. It's quite wonderful. And fortunately, YouTube does have very good resources there. Yeah.
I think it's important to realize that we have control of this, right? I mean, we can
Yes.
control the immune system, but at times for patients it's too late, right?
Yeah.
Patients that have very aggressive disease, very aggressive inflammation. So the question that I get asked is, well, if you can affect the vagal nerve, why don't you treat patients with that,
Hmm.
right? And I think that for those patients, there are treatments now, the very severe inflammatory patients and neurological patients, in which you are stimulating the vagal nerve electrically.
Yes. Yes. And in
Uh,
fact, in Netherlands, they do that.
yeah,
They actually insert a device in the neck at the vagus nerve. It's bioelectric medicine. And it's a Koopman and Peter Tack have done most of the work that I know about.
yeah.
And they have had patients with the worst rheumatoid, Jose, who failed biologic after biologic after biologic. So they put this device there and then they take a magnet and stimulate it over the skin. They hold it for 6 minutes twice a day, something like that. Boom,
it's
they go
really
into
amazing.
remission. Yeah.
So I brought it for you.
You
If
did.
this is a vagal
Oh,
nerve, this is the device, right?
oh.
We have been doing it in the office. And
Okay, how do you do it? So explain that.
so it comes, a neurosurgeon positions the vagal nerve, of course you have two, and positions it and just sutures into the vagal nerve. And now you can see it.
Yes, I
And
can.
basically use a collar to stimulate it once a week for a few minutes.
Just once a week. Wow.
Yeah, and it releases a signal for 5 or 10 minutes every day.
Yes.
And they feel a little buzz, and that's it.
I didn't know that this was available in America.
And we do clinical, it's part of a clinical research project.
Yeah.
It is going to the FDA in 3 months.
Okay.
So it may be available in next year.
Yeah, because I usually tell my patients that this is coming. It's in Europe already, but in America, I know there are trials. I don't know how to get you in them. I do telemedicine only, but
Yeah.
this is very, very exciting. How many patients do you have in the trial?
We have only 5 in the
Mm-hmm.
office.
Yes.
And um, all of them did well. We have one that had problems, just external problems, and is dealing with some depression due to other issues, and another one that has had a bad fall and fractures, so not related to the inflammation, but the inflammation is controlled. It's
Yes.
really amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have tried, and it's a company in Canada called Dolphin Neurostim, but it's outside, and I have it here. My chiropractor showed it to me. So you have a grounding, you put on your tummy, you attach the probe onto your ear,
Uh-huh.
and you use this little device. You just switch it on, and for about 5 minutes, boom, again, very easy. But there's no surgery. It's an outer device. You put
Yeah.
your earlobe,
And
and
that's another way probably to stimulate the vagal nerve, right? I mean, because
yeah, it's
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 a
to stimulate the vagal nerve. It's called dolphin, vagal stim. And so some of my people, because I didn't know about this internal unit, I think for some of our refractory people, bioelectricity is really
it's an
important.
alternative. Yeah.
It is an alternative, yeah.
It's
But
not for everybody. It's very clear that most people need to do the breathing and the humming and the exercise or the music, because that helps us all to
yes,
avoid the need for any additional interventions or getting sick.
have you noticed from this vagal stimulation spilling into other health benefits or even in their life?
So the person that I told you, I mean, unfortunately, if you have fractures, you're off because you have a lot of pain. Another person had a very terrible loss in her family, so that just kind of
Yeah,
imbalance her a little bit. The other 3 are happy.
yes,
They're happy-go-lucky now. They don't have pain, and they come
yes,
in and they smile and they joke with me.
yeah.
So yes, but I'm qualifying because it's a small sample. And
Well, but even one, you have to study that. What is the it looks anomalous because we're not doing chemistry here. We're doing electricity
that's right.
of a major nerve. It's wandering nerve. So it balances many aspects of your body. I have seen people who are constipated forever and they stop pooping. Okay, that's been some, or another one who is literally able to balance their checkbook. Okay, their brain is so much better functioning. So this I say, wow, this is interesting that yeah, we get their inflammation under control, but they are getting other physiological benefits apart from just joint pain or
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
if you look at it uh, from above, right? I mean, you're affecting the autonomic nervous system,
yes,
so therefore their anxiety will get better, the tachycardia will be less, right?
yes,
The muscle pain will decrease, the bowels may click better, and you stop urinating every couple minutes, and
Yes,
kind of
yes.
sleep better because of that. They're not getting
Right.
up during the night. So there's other effects that will overall make them feel better.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
balance the autonomic nervous system.
You know, many people may be watching this and they don't have immune diseases, but one very good way, and we've mentioned humming, the ear massage, and we'll do the 478 breathing. We must not forget that. But you know, Heart Math Institute, the inner balance, coherence, I like it a lot. I used to have it, and some of my patients also use that because it has colors and they get very used to it. And over time, they just know they don't need the actual app, and you know, they feed data to the Heart Math. They have collected so much information on people with all kinds of conditions,
Mhm.
including arthritis. So if you know, if people are watching this and they want to experiment, you know, it's they have some free programs in Heart Math. You can actually go and look at it, and it's a small investment of time, and then you can also get into their programs and into their studies. It's really quite what they've done is quite incredible over the years, you know. So Heart Math is another resource for people.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 478 breathing, Jose. I'm not
Yeah.
letting you go without teaching us.
So I mean, Andrew Wild, as part of the training, sits with a group and teaches us this. And who better to teach you than him, right? I mean, he's the guru of this
Yes.
integrative movement. So it's relatively simple, and the purpose of that is to slow your breath. And there's two components because uh, what I add for people that feel a little bit nervous is the counting in their head.
Mhm.
So because the mind can only do one thing at a time.
Yes.
And if you're focusing your breath and counting, then you're not going and not wandering around
Hmm.
with worries or other things to do. So it's relatively simple. You take a deep, deep breath
Hmm.
to a count of 4.
Yeah.
You hold it for 7, and then you slowly, slowly exhale on 8. And at the end of the 8, you feel just a sense of relaxation
Yes.
and ease. So let's do it once more. Taking a deep breath in 4, holding it for a couple of seconds for 7, and exhaling on 8. So that will ease you and relax you and decrease your muscle tension.
Hmm.
But we all have had episodes in which you get a little bit nervous. If you can just focus on counting the numbers and flash them in your forehead, that will just uh, make your mind focus on the numbers and not go anyplace else.
Yeah. It's
So, I
good
mean, you just do
advice.
the same thing, just focusing and counting here with your eyes closed and just seeing the numbers flash in your head. And that will give you an extra sense of just more relaxation.
Hmm.
And if you do it, I tell the patients, we do it in the office with a patient. I say, go to a car and do it 6 times, just breathe 6 cycles. So they get more comfortable with that, and then they get home and they begin to do it, and it makes a difference.
Oh yeah, this is wonderful. You know, I've been very interested in spiritual practices, and this again is a segue to, you know, we talked about music and Gregorian chanting. There's also work again by this Benedictine nun who used to do heart health in central Minnesota, and she has very deep interest in heart rate variability and various spiritual traditions. So
Mm.
she looked at mindfulness, Zen meditation, vipassana meditation, and contemplative practices. And she wrote to me very excited, and she says, the mystics were right. The mystics were right. And I thought, what's she talking about? It turns out from all of these mindfulness, Zen meditation, and contemplative practices, contemplation gets you faster into entrainment, zero point 0.1 hertz, and keeps you there.
Hmm.
Isn't that interesting? And then maybe it's because you have this spiritual truth, sort of you're always, it's in the back of your sort of consciousness, you're remembering it all day instead of you sitting in one place and then suddenly you have to get into the car and go work and the traffic still bothers you. You've left the state on the cushion at home. So it was very interesting because the mystics do say contemplation is a very effective way to understand yourself, your mind, and its momentum, and you can really the hook then here is a prayer, a scripture, or something that has meaning for you, and you contemplate it. So
Mhm.
sometimes I've done that too, and your heart rate variability would show its effects, and that's science. It's been published.
I
So
think
we have
that
many ways. We have many
many
ways.
ways,
Yeah.
many ways. I think that the first step is just to um, balance a little bit the autonomic nervous system, stimulate the parasympathetic system, because that will keep you out of trouble, right? I mean, people
Yeah,
do
I think
better,
that's
blood
a
pressure is
really good way.
controlled,
Hmm.
you don't have aches or pains, you feel better, your tummy feels better, your heart does better. As a
Yes.
matter of fact, you mentioned Dr. Koopman, and he has this study that I found fascinating in which he looks at the heart rate of people that are fine, people that have positive antibodies and no disease, and people that have inflammation, established disease, and people that have a higher heart rate at rest are the ones that are going to get sicker. And,
Right. Yeah.
and it's a matter of just, if you're so charged, your immune system will fall.
Yes. And so you're speaking to a very important point because when we go to when patients come to us, we measure blood tests, and it seems to me that heart rate variability is actually quite easy. It's an EKG measurement, and it's automatic. You press. I mean, it's literally like that now, and you can get the balance of parasympathetic and sympathetic, and again teach our patients how to do it in addition to lab work. And
Yeah.
once you know that you're always in the sympathetic outflow, you can warn them because it also predicts medicine failure.
Mhm.
If you're in sympathetic outflow all the time, you can throw all the great biologics and steroids, and here we are. And I think this is part of the problem that we're missing this parasympathetic engagement. If we could just measure it in addition to ESR and blood count and all of those wonderful things we do, if we do that too, I think we have a very different window into what's really
Yeah.
happening in the body.
I
And
agree
here's
with
the
you.
and here's the other thing. The parasympathetic, we already, you take me through 478, 1 or 2 cycles, I feel it. Or this ear massage, I start yawning. If you did the same with steroids, it takes 4 to 6 hours for that chemical to take effect. Look at the parasympathetic. How
Mhm.
many seconds, milliseconds even, feeds right into the macrophages? It's we can see it. It's the anti-inflammatory reflex. So to impress upon people and patients, look at how quickly this is working. Immediate. You
Mhm.
feel the heart and your macrophages are calming down. This is absolutely been shown. So milliseconds versus hours for a steroid to kick in. Give me my parasympathetic vagal thing. I mean, give that to me any day. And we could reduce our exposure to chemicals and improve outcomes. I'm not saying don't use chemicals, but now we're wiser. And I think we could put people into remission far more reliably than right now. We're sort of shooting in the dark a bit, I'll be honest. We try one, a second one, a third one. I wrote a newsletter, trial, error, and error, and an error, because that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So for the people that are listening now, the two easy ways in which they can have a self-check is to check the heart rate and how fast they breathe,
Yes.
right? In a minute, just count a minute and see how many breaths you're taking. If you're over 7, you need to cool down.
Cool down.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. Get out of trouble.
Just slow down your breath. Try to
Mhm.
keep it to 5 or 6 breaths a minute, and then you'll be better off.
Yes, yes. This has been outstanding, Jose. Thank you. Let me see if I have any questions, because I was sort of making notes for myself, but I'm going to look into the alternate nose breathing. I know they do something like that in yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Close the nose and then breathe out the other one. Okay, okay. I think we've covered some of the more major things. We could go deep into the science, but I think this is very helpful. People have done actually work on cytokines too, and heart rate variability, where once you engage the parasympathetic, the cytokine and inflammation really does go down. You can actually measure it and see it in real time. So again, it's the European folks who are a little ahead of the curve, but we
Yeah.
know it's work and it's very good science, and or it's not rocket science, you know. By the way, about this trial that you're talking about, is it with Feinstein Institute, Kevin Tracy in New York? Is he
I
one of
don't
the?
I don't know if he's one of the people participating, but it's a group from California that's driving it.
Oh, I see. Okay, because I know Kevin Tracy had done some of the original work in animal models. He's a neurosurgeon, and
Yeah.
he was actually studying sepsis or infection and how to reduce spinal infection. And he ran into, hey, the spine already has impulses to protect you, and then went down this pathway, a rabbit hole, so to speak, and then found the anti-inflammatory cholinergic reflex, as he calls it. So yeah, he's done some amazing work, and has come to the ACR meetings too. Yeah.
So
Any
if you look
final thought? Yeah, go ahead.
well, I mean that in reality we're talking a thing about items and about interventions that have been done for thousands of years,
Hmm.
right? And we're just reminding people of what has been done before, um,
Yes.
different cultures, right? And
We're rediscovering some of that, wisdom in healing traditions. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
it's a matter of just remind people what our ancestors taught, performed, and how they heal, right? So
Yeah.
it's great that we have the options of great medications, biologicals, JAK inhibitors, or others, but I mean we have to go to basics too.
Oh yeah, we've closed a
Operate
big circle. I think it's come to a big loop, and we're right to honor those and see the pathophysiological connections, whether it's music or, as we said, contemplative prayer and all of this, because it comes back to that you have uh, many entry points to heal yourself, heal your body, heal your mind, and thrive in this very troubled world. It'll always go. The world has always had historically, it just goes in these cycles. And I think ultimately, if you heal yourself, you heal the world.
Mhm.
You're the most important. People say, I want to heal the world. I say, heal yourself. Let's start there, because that's under our control. So,
So
yeah.
a Peruvian shaman, Oscar Miro Quesada, said very wisely, if you heal yourself, you create a ripple effect in the universe,
Yes.
right? And you just help others in the process.
Well, yeah, another way that shaman is extremely wise, very wonderful. My teacher has said, when you heal yourself, your consciousness is rising and all the ships float higher.
Yeah.
It's not just limited to you. You're really part of humanity, a human family. And so take care of your consciousness, take care of your healing, And by that means, so, you don't have to get out into traffic in some peace assembly anywhere. Just be at home. I like that. I like home. Anyway, final thoughts, Jose. This has been quite wonderful.
Well, thank you for inviting me to talk to you. It's always a pleasure. And
Yes.
the final thought is simple: just hum your way through life.
Oh,
Do some
yes.
humming when you're in a
Mm.
traffic jam and you're just like, oh my goodness, I cannot move. Just hum, and it will
Mm.
get better. An
My
easy way
my
to
nephew
stimulate your
does
vagus
that
nerve.
when we're looking for parking. He goes 5 years old, 5 years old, and you won't believe it. We always get a parking spot. Oh, 100%. I don't know what he does. Maybe the hum goes to some parking angel or something. So, but I do calm down and I say, could you and he even says, he doesn't call me auntie, he calls me Nisha. Did you like that? He checks in, making sure. So children know, and they know that no instructions required.
That's right.
No instructions required. Hum, be happy. And he says, stop yelling, a parking will become available. I go, oh my God, it's raining. And then he goes,
Yeah, and
so
it appears.
it does. I say, okay, Keon, can you please start humming, please? And maybe it's me too. I know that there is what I call physics entanglement. There's connectivity between you and everything around you. And we think, oh no, I'm here, you're there, and that one's there, and that parking spot's over there. But there's a connectivity, and it's not mysterious once you know that we are influencing each other, even though we don't talk to each other.
Mhm.
You don't have to. You don't need a
That's
telephone wire to the car to say move out. you know. So it's wonderful to live your life like that with trust, with faith and trust. Yeah. Yeah. It's been
well,
fun.
thank you.
Oh, Jose, I want to say thank you to you. My parasympathetic is so joyful and all right. I'm gonna
It's
stop recording. Yeah.
always a pleasure.
Thank you, Jose. Please give my best regards to Catherine and all the children, and you know, enjoy New Zealand. You're
We're going to
so
have a good time.
fortunate. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wonderful.
I
Okay,
never
I'm
take
gonna,
so many a long vacation like this. This year we're going to do it, and
yeah,
we're really excited about that.
yes. Oh, wow. So enjoy your trip. Come back soon and safely. Bye for now, Jose. Take care.
Thank you.
You got it.